Welcome to We Talking About Sports. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. The boys are talking MMA. We got UFC on ABC number 6, Ben. This is the 6th installation of the event. And you know the UFC protects UFC on ABC at all costs. Some of the fight nights on ABC have been Emmett Taporia, Rosenstrike Almeida, Ortega Rodriguez, Victorian Holland, Holloway versus Cater. So they give the best main card they can for UFC on ABC 6.
This is not just some regular fight night. I think I remember the first ever UFC on ABC, and I think it was Cain Velasquez against Junior Segano.
That was on Fox. This one is the first ever was Holloway and Cater for ABC.
They treat them like pay-per-views is the thing. You know, like you said, they really protect them. It's a big network. It's it's not really cable television because with an antenna you can pick up ABC. So this is how you get in, every living room in America that has a tube, in front of their couch. But yeah, decent card. Glad that we're here talking about it. And yeah, ready to get into it.
Ron, are you excited about UFC on ABC 6 this weekend, bro?
I am, for every reason that you just mentioned. I think from where this sport first started, where it was pay-per-view only, it was so graphic to watch on TV. Nobody wanted a piece of it. They sell the company to now being on a television network like ABC, where you really only see the major sports, MLB, NFL, hockey. So big path that the UFC has come down. And it's cool because it gets to all the favorite people of Mr. Big Pap up there. It gets to all the casuals. It gets to all the casuals, man. So at the end of the day, it's cool for the fighters. Some of these guys fight on the regional market a lot locally. And now with shows like Fight Nights and UFC on ABC, hey, they can get their name out there, man, in front of the national audience. So
you're right. Cool. Most eyeballs will be here this weekend on this. There's not a lot of sporting events Saturday to compete with as well.
Very true. No NBA, might not be any hockey. I'm not sure if hockey's even scheduled on Saturday to begin with. But the UFL's over there competing with baseball pretty much. You know what I mean? So this is prime time for the UFC.
They should dominate. Let's talk about some news this week. Unfortunately, a lot of us didn't really hold our breaths too much for Conor McGregor's return, and we were right to do so. The fight for International Fight Week, UFC 303, the main event. We got a new main event, and that's because Conor's pulled out. Ben, it's been speculation because he doesn't give us any details. Dana White, for some reason, doesn't want to give the fans, especially the ones who paid for those tickets, any details of why Conor's pulled out. So speculation is all we have. And the two things we've been hearing is injury and drug rehab. What are you most likely to buy?
That's crazy.
I'm buying the injury just based off who's saying the drug rehab. Chael Sonnen knows how to get clicks. He knows how to make, his rounds in the MMA media. He just got off, a boxing fight that a lot of us didn't even know took place against Anderson Silva.
Did not know.
This past weekend or the last. Nobody's talking about it. Hey, let me just go say that, we always see Conor drinking. People have speculated that he's, coked out at times. Let's just say that he pulled out because of drug rehab. I mean, take a shot at that guy. Conor you might get a response from Conor. Then you even get yourself even more in the headlines. So this is Chael Sonnen, doing what he does, using his mouthpiece to get the views because he didn't do much, with his fight style, but he definitely knew how to build up fights, get people's attention. And I think that's all he's doing right here.
Ron, what about you? Were you expecting this fight to go through finally after, it's been teased for such a long time? We seemed like we had a set date. It was off, then it was on. Now it's off again. What did you expect?
With the superstar like Conor, I can see this from a WWE angle here. Kind of just really milking the shit out of the cell, just milking the story. I don't think he had any plans to come back. You didn't really see a lot of videos coming out of him. At least I didn't, training or taking the fight seriously. None of that big, huge promotional work that you usually see from Conor. So I think to me, he knew he wasn't going to be in this fight from way before we heard news about the injury. I think he's building to maybe just another fight to where, okay, let's put all our eggs in the basket. Let's pay for the pay-per-view anyway, even though he's pulled out because we have to see Conor fight. And I think that's all it is now. I don't think he's competing for titles anymore, boys. Like, do you honestly think he goes to bed at night thinking I'm going to be the next, certain class, weight class champion of the world? I don't think so, man.
I think that he does. He definitely goes.
I don't think he thinks that either.
Yeah, he does.
I think the only shot he has at a title is like the BMF title, but I don't even think he's pushing for that. I don't think
he
that
just needs to win one fight to get a title shot. He has like the fastest road to a title, so yeah, he still thinks that he can hold the title because he just has to get into that fight.
Yeah, but I don't think
if it's against Islam, no, maybe he doesn't think that he can do it in that weight class. But I mean, you don't think that this guy thinks that he can beat? Is it Leon Edwards at 170?
Leon Edwards. No, I don't think you're beating Leon.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why. Maybe he's just waiting for the right time, saying, "Hey, there's like a lull right here. Somebody's out. There's an interim belt kind of shit." I think he's just picking the spot, man. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he wakes up every day with the same mentality of "I need to grind today to become champion." Fuck that.
I agree with that, Ron. I'm more likely, Ron, to believe that he knows the UFC's media deal is coming up with ESPN, and he knows he only has a few fights left on contract. And I think what he wants to do is hold out so that he can be part of that new media deal and sign a bigger contract and renew now. And I don't think that was being offered to him. And he knows what's up. And I think he's a good businessman. And I think that's really what happened. I think that's really what went down.
And what's the timetable on that?
I think we got less than a year left with ESPN, and the rights will be
hold out for a whole another year, bro.
I think he would. I mean, he's held up this long.
He's 100% fighting before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, 100%. And 100%. To maybe build for that,
but with a new contract, because he knows those rights are coming up. So I think that's what he's holding out for. Maybe he's holding out to get the new contract with the new rights and a bump in pay. That's what I believe.
Maybe he gives him one more and then does his last fight of the contract on the new one.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to why we're seeing this fight this week, and that's Khamzat Chimaev. He's pulled out against Robert Whittaker. And at this point, Ben, we got to just call it a spade. He's a pullout merchant. You cannot book Khamzat Chimaev from here on out in any capacity on the main event. At best, you can book him in the main card, but somewhere towards the bottom, because at this point, he is unreliable. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think maybe you put him like as a pay-per-view opener. Like that's kind of where you slot him. You know what I mean? I know that he's done a little bit more, but maybe like that Bo Nickel where people still want to see him has to be a part of like the pay-per-view. In this case, I mean, like we said, ABC treated like a pay-per-view. He was getting the main event, but I agree with you. Can't have the whole card relying on him. You know, just Dana alluded to the fact that, you know, obviously he doesn't have a visa to be in the States. So he's not seeing the UFC doctors. He's not seeing the doctors that, you know, all these other fighters are privy to because they go to the, you know, UFC facility over there in Vegas. This guy is having to fight overseas. Where is this card this weekend?
This one is in Abu Dhabi. So he would have been in Saudi.
Yeah. So, I mean, even UFC on ABC in Abu Dhabi, bro. Like, shit. That's
what
crazy.
more do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, albeit this did sound like a serious injury. I mean, dude's in the hospital bed.
Food poisoning.
Him out what?
Yeah, food poisoning is what it came out to be.
And when did he pull out? What was the timetable on this? When
it was this weekend. This past weekend, he pulled out. And you know what? I will give it to his management team because they did such a good job on announcing when they announced the pullout. They did it the same day Conor announced his pullout. So Khamzat's pullout got buried in the news. You know what I mean? Like that was the perfect strike for them to be like, oh, here's a chance to pull out.
Isn't that Ali?
I think it is Ali for him.
So that's him with food poisoning in the bed, wrapped up.
Yeah, that's the photo his friend posted on Instagram, like asking for prayers that it was real bad. And
I mean, people have passed away from food poisoning, man.
Really?
Can get serious, bro.
I didn't know that.
The picture looks like it's at a mental psych ward, bro. I mean,
it's a little owls back there.
It's a little different.
Did you put that wording on it, or the picture came like that?
The picture came like that. That's how the picture was that they posted. There's a screenshot of it.
Instagram, I'm sure.
It looks like
it's a shame though. Like the guy is so violent in the octagon. He's so fun to watch, right?
A lot of hype.
He's like at the new Driscoll's that's here in Macau.
You know, he doesn't fight too often, but I think his last one was against Usman, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the decision he won, I think it was a split decision, and that fight was uber close, man.
But I mean, this is a guy who you thought would probably be getting a title shot for sure. A while ago, he's just not active enough, and then he pulls out. He pulls out of fights like crazy.
Yo,
A lot of hype on this dude, but I think that it's literally the fact that he can't come to the U.S. and take advantage of, all the perks, whether it be medical, whether they say that he struggles to make weight, whether it be the meals and the dietitians and all that shit at the UFC.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a guy
center.
who takes it seriously enough, as far as diet and being
He's just a
disciplined and all that.
savage, bro.
Yeah. Was he the favorite against Whitaker? I didn't see the lines before he got pulled.
I think he
Were there
was.
any lines? I know it
I'm
was kind
pretty
of
sure
early.
that he was a favorite.
I think he was a
Yeah.
favorite though. All right, let's get into a little more news this week. We got a replacement. We did announce on the podcast. What was it? Maybe 2 weeks ago, I posted that Perry would be the replacement this week. It got confirmed on their end as well. So here's the new fight. The reason why Jake Paul had to make this fight still happen is because he does have the undercard paid for. The two women that were fighting on the undercard, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, they're expensive people to pay. He couldn't let the card go to November without filling in there. So he had to find a replacement for this month or for July, and Mike Perry is it. Unfortunately for Mike Perry, Jake Paul's all familiar with him. He is a sparring partner, and from the videos we've seen, Jake Paul has been tuning him up in sparring. So, what do you guys make of it?
I didn't know that. Where did you get privy to that info?
These
Justin?
guys
Is
are
it just-
sparring?
So Perry has been brought in for Jake Paul's camp, I think 2 times previously, and they had released those sparring videos
They
during
brought
those
him
2
in for
times.
that Nate Robinson look.
I think it was. I think it was after that,
That's
and it
wild.
was before the last one he did.
I'm fucking around, but maybe.
But
it
Mike
was-
Perry ain't gonna fucking fight him the way he does sparring. It's way different.
Yeah, and they announced this fight, and then they didn't really give the details because it was pretty big news, right? Maybe 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You were seeing it everywhere as soon as it got announced. I think Jake Paul was on Ariel Helwani's show also, but they didn't specify. And I mean, we know Mike Perry's a bare knuckle boxer. They didn't say when they announced it if it was going to be boxing, if it was going to be bare knuckle. I
It's
mean, we're not
boxing, yeah.
stupid, right? Jake Paul's not going to fight bare
Fuck
knuckle.
no.
I wish that it was in the contract, that it was a 1-1, but I mean, good for Mike Perry, bro. I don't think that this is gonna really knock anything off of his aura or his run that he's in right now in bare knuckle because it is with gloves on, a little different, and he just has that to go on, like, well, let's take the pillows off, and he's not gonna sound like a bitch saying something like that.
Yeah.
So
agree.
I don't think he can't really lose here. I mean, nobody wants to lose to Jake Paul, right? If you're saying Paul has been tuning him up, I think Paul's going to be the bigger guy, but Mike Perry's going to get probably the biggest payday of his career.
Easy.
And, I think that this is a fight that he was lobbying for a while now.
Yeah, he was.
This is like a Mike Perry, like a George Masvidal situation, like backyard brawling to, the UFC just to get that payday. I mean, hence, of course, Masvidal went on and had a pretty good UFC career, the BMF belt. I mean, Mike Perry versus Jake Paul, I'm not saying that it's there, but dude, from a guy who just likes to fucking brawl in the backyard, in the back of a pickup truck, I mean, to a DAZN pay-per-view against Jake Paul, shit, give me the money. Badass story from Mike Perry, bro.
I could see him getting frustrated, though, in this boxing fight for sure.
Yeah, Mike Perry does have a boxing background. That's where he started before he went into MMA. But what Alan Torres is saying here is the weight class. Jake Paul was coming up in weight because he was trying to fight Mike Tyson at his weight. So this will be at least 18 pounds heavier. Jake Paul will be than Mike Perry at his normal weight. Mike Perry used to fight at 170. Jake Paul was moving up to 168 in that range. So he's going to be a way bigger man. Where is it at?
What are they fighting at?
I think it's 168. I think they're going to
keep up with those boxing weight classes, bro. It's just every
4 pounds there's a weight class, so it's hard.
Between 165 and 170, we can say.
Cruiserweight? Like, I'm thinking cruiserweight. I'm thinking Rey Mysterio, bro. You know what I mean? I'm thinking a little guy.
Yeah.
How old is Perry, eh? Compared to Jake Paul?
Perry's got to be at least 30-something.
That's what I was saying, right? It's probably like our age, old-ass dude. Because how old's Paul? Like 27?
That I don't know.
Hey, Paul was also doing ads with
Jake Paul's 27 and Mike Perry is
36.
36. So 9 year
Damn, he's
age
my
difference
age,
there.
way. Hey, who looks older, me or Mike Perry?
Mike Perry.
Mike Perry,
Yo,
he's been through some
thanks, guys.
stuff, you know.
Thank
You
you.
have the canas. I mean, as long as you keep the hat on, for sure, Mike Perry.
Sheesh. What's up, Diego in the chat? Alan's in the chat. Appreciate
I
y'all
hope
boys
Chavez Jr. is
watching,
still on
man.
the undercard. Just saw a recent interview where he seems clean and in a way better mentality.
Nah.
Yeah, because that last time he looked like he was on the sauce
I'm
in the
giving
ring.
up on Chavez Jr., bro. Hell no, we can't. That guy, you can't be holding hope. That fool lost to Anderson Silva, bro.
But Diego's right. He looked like he was on the sauce in the ring. Like that dude did not look good. So hopefully he's gotten clean at least.
Bro.
36 is prime. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Alan.
All right, let's open up with the first fight of the main card here. And we got Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir, Mr. No Time himself, Ben. And the tell of the tape, similar in age, Johnny will have the height advantage as well as a 7-inch reach advantage. Let's look at his form. He's lost to some pretty good guys. Magomed Ankalaev, to me, that's a guy who's a contender for the light heavyweight title, and he's lost to the previous light heavyweight title holder in Jamal Hill. Win over Anthony Smith, win over Paul Craig, and Ion Cutelaba. Some decent names there, Ben. What do you make of his last 5?
Some good names for sure. I mean, that Jamal Hill was a while ago. We saw what he did to Paul Craig. That was on a pay-per-view card, and he just punked him. Yep. Anthony Smith as well. You know, Anthony Smith's always a good name to have on your belt, kind of gatekeeper.
Yes.
And the thing for him is he loses a lot by KO. Here with his opponent, Mr. No Time, a couple of years ago, he was putting dudes out early in fights. Out. I don't think that he holds that type of power anymore. I'm surprised that the odds are as close as they are, to be honest with you. The reach advantage that you mentioned for Johnny Walker, I think that Johnny Walker's going to, as long as he doesn't get knocked out, and I honestly think that Oezdemir, the knockout power is kind of diminished. I mean, we haven't really seen him knock anybody out, like I said, in years. That was kind of when he broke onto the scene in the UFC. But here you see, you know, decision. He won by sub. Never thought I'd see him win by sub. And then knocked out by Jiri. So also, I mean, not bad losses, you know. The Nikita Krylov one isn't that
not
good,
the best loss, but the Magomed and Jiri, those two top guys.
This guy just feels like he's aged a lot in the UFC, bro. Like he came in, like I said, I mean, I remember he fought Daniel Cormier, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's been around. I don't think that he carries the power anymore. I think that Johnny Walker wins this fight pretty handily, honestly.
Ron, what about you? Do you think this is an easy fight for Walker? Are you surprised at the odds being this short at -115, -105?
No, man, I'm definitely on the Vulcan side here. I think that Walker's he's just a little bit too unorthodox for me. He comes in from awkward angles. You know, he's going to give you a flying knee, a spinning back fist. And I think this is going to be one of those fights that's a little longer. I would take the over here. I don't see anybody really knocking each other out. I think they both have the ability to do so, but I think to me, it's going to come down to defense, bro. You know, I think that that Volkan is a little bit more smart, measured. You know, he's a technician. He's a kickboxer. He's not going to make too many mistakes. You know, so to me, it's a little bit more the safer pick. I'm going to roll with him at -105. On a fight that's a coin flip, I always go with the guy who's just a little bit more, you know, technical savvy, a little less prone to making mistakes.
Yeah, I agree.
I
like Volkan here too, man. I really do. The power's the last thing to go.
How do you see him winning, Justin?
I think Johnny Walker, like Ron said, he's just susceptible to getting hit. And I think that Volkan does carry just enough power within those first rounds to touch him up.
He does have power
one time. So I think that's where I can see it happening.
We saw that he hasn't knocked anybody out in his last 5 fights.
I know, but the power's still there.
No, then where's the outcome? You can't say
it just hasn't happened because of his injury, but I think that we have one chance at getting it, and I think they're in the early rounds. So if Volkan's going to do it, I think it's an early finish, and I think he does have the power early enough to do it. If he goes around 3, it's not happening, and I think Walker will edge out the decision at that point. But I like Volkan to do some damage early.
I agree that Johnny Walker is not the guy you really want to trust because, like Ron said, he can do some stupid shit in there. Hopefully
and he will.
Hopefully he does the stupid shit, you know, after the fight, you know, celebrating another win. But I honestly, bro, I think he's just he's going to be too young, too fast for Volkan, and if he doesn't get taken down, because I think if Volkan wins, it's going to have to be a decision. He's going to have to work some takedowns. I mean, like I said, we saw a sub win, there recently for him, but I think Johnny Walker's going to class this guy up, bro.
Yeah, I think regardless, what we've kind of agreed on in both of our takes is that you might be looking at an overs fight.
Yeah.
So if you can make the decision on picking, 105 to minus 115 on the coin flip, fuck it, just take the over 2.5, which I'm sure, it is. I mean, just like Ben mentioned too, here for no time, decision, 3 out of his last 5 fights. So maybe some fighters who play to the overs here.
Dude, that's probably the best play to bet if you're going to bet. Moving over to a fun fight, Ben. I'm actually really looking forward to this, and I'm kind of surprised at the line because Daniel Rodriguez can throw himself. Yeah. Kelvin Gastelum minus 250, Daniel Rodriguez plus 205, both older in age, 32 and 37. Reach almost identical, 74 to 72, and the height, Kelvin Gastelum just about 3 inches shorter. Let's get into the last 5 for Kelvin in the middleweight division. He's lost to Sean Brady, beat Chris Curtis, which is a decent kind of win, more or less. Lost to Cannonier, who's, in the title picture more or less all the time. Lost to Whitaker, probably the second greatest middleweight of all time after Adesanya, and a win over Ian Heinisch. What do you make of this last 5 right here?
I mean, he's fighting the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? This is a guy that's been ranked pretty much his whole career. Tough winner. He's kind of in a must win here. I mean, you see him 2-3, his last 5 fights, that win over Chris Curtis, and I think that was like a toss-up fight as well as far as the odds were concerned. He did win that fight easily. But, I mean, here, it's a must-win for him. Honestly, you would think that Kevin Gastelum's the older guy, just based off, how long we've seen him in the UFC. D-Rod, we know that he's tough. When I saw that he was 37, that surprised the hell out of me.
He don't look 37.
He doesn't.
And it doesn't move like 37.
Well, I mean, and his losses, his Neil Magny and Ian, Cuck Gary, damn, Justin with the edit.
Oh shoot, who put that?
Oh man, I'm gonna read it just like Ron Burgundy here. But he was on a run prior, with those wins. Preston Parson, Kevin Lee, Jingaling. Those also aren't the best names, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was a guy that probably did decent, in the local circuit. Got that bump because he was winning fights by TKO, KO. Had a pretty good run coming in, but this is back against the wall over here for Kevin Gastelum. I honestly think the line's telling you a lot. He's probably going to take him down, wrestle, and I think D-Rod can be held down. So I think Gastelum wins this fight.
Same, I'm with you on that. Ron, where do you think this fight's going? Are you like Gastelum, or are you liking D-Rod himself to get this dub?
Man, UFC
real quick.
UFC on ABC is gonna produce some dogs, bro. They're gonna produce the dog picks. I'm gonna ride with Rodriguez here, bro. I think that Ian Gary head kick. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was a hell of a kick, but I mean, he showed that he could, belong there, with Gary for as long as the fight did last. Gastelum's a smaller guy, a little bit shorter, doesn't have as much reach. He's 2-6, bro, in his last 8 fights. And he's fought a lot, like Ben mentioned in the UFC, over 20 fights. He's a tough veteran boxer, maybe like a Randy Couture toward, that age kind of vibe where, you go out, you show some respect. But I think Rodriguez is just going to go in there swinging for the fences.
From the hood, bro. He's tough. That's it.
Rodriguez is, like Ben said, 37 years old. You go in there as a plus 2-1 dog. You're swinging for the fences. And I think Kevin Gastelum, you never know, might get caught.
He has a good chin, though.
It is going to be an exciting fight, just like you guys said.
This fight.
Exciting fights lead to crazy finishes, and why not take the dog here? I don't know if Kevin Gastelum is that much as far as 2.5 to 1 over there. I'd rather sprinkle my money on the 2 to 1.
All right,
parlay piece, easy.
Here we go. This one gets really fun. We got Sergey Pavlovich and Alexander Volkov. We got Putin versus Putin. It's Russian versus Russian. Pavlovich, he was named the Russian Ngannou for some time because of all of his knockouts. He's got a good matchup with Volkov, who's got a decent reach. Pavlovich still does have the reach advantage with a 4-inch reach advantage of 84 inches to 80. And these dudes are big. I mean, they're coming in jacked. I don't know if you've been seeing the pictures of the lead up to the week. They're looking like they're back on the juice or something because Pavlovich has changed his body completely. Looking at his last 5, It's been Dubs. He finally met his match for the interim title, the interim heavyweight title against Tom Aspinall. He did get knocked out. You know, he was just a little off that fight. But if he was in form, Curtis Blades, that guy's gonna probably fight for the interim title soon. Tai Tuivasa, knockout artist, he knocks him out. Derek Lewis, he knocks him out. So the dubs are there. And Drago Dragov over here, he's got dubs too.
Hey, go back. Hey, go back.
He's got dubs too. You know what I mean? This is a fun fight, guys. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
what's
give
that
you
last guy's name, Justin, down there?
Shamil Abdul Rakhmakov.
Oh,
Don't
killed
leave
it.
him out.
I'm gonna give you guys mine real
knockouts.
quick. I'm gonna give you guys my pick real quick because I gotta dip for a couple minutes. I'm gonna go with Pavlovich, the clear favorite. This is the only fight in the main card where I'm not taking the underdog. 6 wins by KOs, crazy power, and he has a grappling game it's there if he needs it. It's yet to be seen, and I think he can surprise us maybe with a sub or some nice wrestling. As far as Volkov, kickboxer, he's lanky, 4 inches taller. Has the 4-inch reach, but I think at the end of the day, Pavlovich is just too well-rounded. So I'm actually going to take a prop on this, boys. Give me Pavlovich by KO or TKO.
All right. I'm going to agree with Ron. I mean, I think that this fight ends before the first round bell is even heard. So I think that this ends in 5 minutes or less. Like you said, they're both coming in jacked. So fights in Abu Dhabi, maybe they're on the juice.
Mm-hmm.
That means, some knockouts. I think that for Volkov, he's going to have to mix in takedowns if he's going to want to win. I don't see how he could just stand in front of this dude with the tall man defense that he has. He just moves his head back, expecting to be out of the way. And with a guy like Pavlovich, those loopy punches, one of those, and this fool's going to drop like Stefan Struve back in the day, tall ass.
Yeah.
But I have Pavlovich as well. I think that it's quick. I think, it's quick. First round.
Same. I think it's going to be Pavlovich the whole way. I think he gets back on track, gets a green over that Aspinall, and I think we're going to see him make another title run somewhere in the future here. I really believe in this guy. He's still young relatively. He's only 31. So
I still can't believe he lost that fight to Tom Aspinall, bro. I thought he was going to go in there and just beat the shit out of the kid.
Same. It was just an off night for him.
Yeah, Juan fighting a younger kid, and I thought he was just going to whoop his ass. Definitely got fooled on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, give me this guy to win, Pavlovich. I think the Russian Ngannou's back, and I think we see dominance in the first round. But let's move over to the main event where we got Robert Whittaker favored -175 over Ikram Aliskerov. We know what Whittaker brings to the table. I mean, you look at it; it's been in form. His only losses were Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, the current champion. After that, he's got wins over Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori when he was still in that title picture, and he dominated Kelvin Gastelum to a UD. Ben, looking at Ikram, we don't know a lot about him because he's been in the UFC for 3 fights. Mario Sosa, he was in the Dana White Contender Series. Then he was in the UFC against Phil Hawes and Warley Alves. Not a lot to be known. A lot of his fights are in the regional area, but he did lose to Hamzat. That's his only loss. So the guy who lost to Hamzat with his only loss is taking on in the main event, Robert Whittaker. Ben, I'll let you get the first take on this. Who do you like?
Yeah, it just seems like it's a little too soon when you go back and you look at Ikram's record. I mean, I know that what we saw Whittaker against Dricus, he didn't look good at all. It was like, shit, did this guy just fall off a cliff, age like that? Then we saw him come back, get that win. But for Ikram, I mean, you're looking at 3 fights ago, he was fighting on Dana White Contender Series. He beats Phil Hawes, who, I mean, everybody's beating nowadays. Yeah. And then Warley Alves, who's like damn near a legend at this point, been around forever. I get that he's only in this fight because it's short notice, but damn, it seems like, talk about jumping to the front of the table, cutting the line.
He's ranked outside the top 15, so you're accurate.
Wild. That's kind of just last resort type thing. I mean, that's when they say people are the most dangerous, when they got nothing to lose. So that's something for him. But 5-round fight, with Warley Alves and Phil Hawes being your UFC competition so far, I don't see him beating Whittaker. I'm going to go with Whittaker just based off that. I think Whittaker kind of, teaches him a lesson in there. little vet lesson. I'm not saying he finishes him brutally or even finishes him at all, but I do think that he kind of just uses his experience and gets to win.
This is a tough one just to cap because I just don't know enough about Ikram at all. The highlight we saw against Worley was real nice, but it's Worley. It's not in his prime. And what I have seen from Whitaker is he beats everybody but the champions at this point. Drake Duplessis is a champion. Israel Adesanya was a champion when he fought him, and he lost there. And that was even a razor sharp fight where I thought it could have gone to him as well. So I'm going to go with what I know, and I know Robert Whitaker's skills. And this guy's outside the top 15. I just got to stay with Robert Whitaker. They were both preparing to be in 5-round fights, I believe, because he was supposed to fight last week on last weekend's card. Ikram was. And now he's booked for this one.
His original opponent?
I don't know who he pulled out against, but it wasn't. I can't remember, but that guy didn't get booked again anyway. So,
okay.
But yeah, I got to go with the skills, and skills pay the bills, and it's Robert Whitaker.
What I will say is for Ikram, I mean, he could be coming up like Camarada, the Spaniard that just won the belt.
Topuria.
I think
put some respect on his name, bro.
One of those calculated guys. You know what I mean? Doesn't lose very much, even though the competition wasn't very good. But this could also be a coming out party for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is his chance to put the world on notice that he's here.
Whitaker can be got. I think he's at the point of his career where we've seen it. Several different.
The chin can get touched. We saw, like you said, DDP barely touched him, and he was putting him on his back.
Yeah,
I agree.
Ron, who you got? I know you said you were only taking one favorite, so I guess you got Ikram.
Negative ghostwriter. Pavlovich was my favorite. I'm gonna go with Aleskarov, Mr. Aleskarov. He's 15-1, bro. In his last fights, hence all those fights were regional fights, but the only loss was to Chimaev. He's got sneaky power. The thing about him, bro, is he grapples after he strikes. He doesn't look to wrestle and then maybe grapple after that. I like his aggressive style. Just like you guys said, Whitaker can be got. He takes damage. He's smart. He's experienced. But to me, dog, do you feel like he's a gatekeeper at like the top, if that makes any sense? Like he's
the highest level of gatekeeper you could ever have.
Like
the
if
highest.
You fight for a belt, you definitely have to beat him.
You got to go through him. But then when he gets a shot, he doesn't take advantage of it. And I think that, that role for him, that's kind of played out already. These younger fighters are going to come up at plus 125. I'm taking it to go inside the distance as well. And then TK or TKO.
For Whitaker, though, the way that this does play out now, he was, coming in as an underdog against Cumshot. Now he gets the early replacement. He's the favorite. You got to think if he wins this fight, no matter if it was a late replacement, because what was at stake was whoever won that fight probably going to get next, right?
Correct.
Unless they were going to have Strickland fight for it again with that terrible performance that he put up. But I think if Whitaker was going to beat Cumshot, he was probably going to get the winner of Adesanya and Duplessis. Or do you think that he's done fighting for titles?
No, I think he's still in that range. The thing is, Strickland also just won his fight, so he's still in that.
It was a horrible performance. Do you think Strickland fights the winner of this?
I think it's going to be a toss-up. Like if Whitaker has a better showing than Strickland did in his win, I think Whitaker's at the front of the line and not Strickland. But if it's equally as bad of a performance and just a boring win, then I think you go Strickland just because he never got his rematch.
I think you could see Whitaker wanting this fight because he's saying, I have to win this fight to get a title shot. And after this title shot, it'll probably be my last one because they're not going to keep giving me chances anymore because I keep fumbling the damn bag.
And he's been champion before, so hopefully he can realize that again. I want him to be champion. I really like his style. He's an exciting fight every time. He really doesn't put up duds.
Nah, this guy that he's
I think if he wins, he definitely has to sit out and wait. I mean, whether they go with Strickland or him first.
Yeah, because it's not until UFC 305 that we see Adesanya and DDP. So that's a long wait too. Yeah. In Perth.
How old will Whitaker be by then?
33?
He just has a lot more years on him with the wars that he's been in with Romero, and he's been in a bunch of fights. Edgar in the comments asking, when does the Bell Piper fight again?
The
Yeah,
cheerleader.
he's
Mr.
33.
Chiwi
The bell pepper, Mr.
Hey, the fi-
Chiwiwis.
the
Chihuahuas.
fight that got pulled, or the fighter that got pulled. Do you think that Magomedov still fights this new replacement that they just picked up like 2 days ago? He was minus 240 against Luderbach.
I'm not even aware of which fight that is.
Yeah, I think Luderbach. It's on the main card too. Luderbach, he just got pulled. I just saw it on Dana White's Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not
Breaking
even
news.
familiar
Break
with
some
that
news,
one.
Ron. Break some news.
Well, I would assume that everybody knew.
No, man, we don't know who Luderbach is, bro. That sounds like a country song. Are you kidding me?
Lukenbach, Texas.
He fought a bunch of PFL fights.
Oh,
like
he's
veteran,
talking
30.
about Joyton, the middleweight from Germany.
So he still
So
has
that
a
fight's
fight
off.
now?
That's the Russian Ben that has that one eye that's like blind or whatever.
He's gonna play like a killer in some upcoming movie role and shit. He's from a Dagestan or yeah.
So his fight got pulled?
No, the guy he was fighting got pulled. Or he got hurt or something. So they picked up this other kid. I don't even know his name. I just saw it.
A body with a pulse to sacrifice?
Move Nazareth to the main card if that's the situation. Just do that.
Horses.
Yeah, Nazrat's on the pre. But yeah, bro, I mean, looking forward to this card. I got a little fun Saturday plan. Gonna hit the river in the morning. Sister coming into town, cousin coming into town, gonna barbecue after for the card. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
The guy's name is Tricoli, who stepped in and took the fight. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that.
Oh, so Tricoli was the guy that was supposed to fight Askarov last week.
Okay, well he's gonna fight
now he has a fight.
Yeah, with Magomedov.
Damn.
Yes, sir. That's on the main card.
Ron, what about you? Where are you gonna watch this fight?
What's up? Shit, man. This Saturday. It's this Saturday. I might just chill here at the crib. I haven't done that in a minute. Turn on the pit. Stay in the garage. Keep it low key.
Some wings or what, Ron?
Perhaps.
If the weather permits, it's been off and on with this rain.
You still can barbecue in the rain, dog. I'd rather it be raining and
when I smoke, with the rain, it kind of cools off the pit a little bit. It's not the same effect.
Nah, bro. I'm trying to take this main screen off.
Let's get out of here. Let's get back to that Kendrick and Friends concert, bro.
All right, well, let's peace out. Anything y'all want to leave with?
No.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Did we give our plays? Who are your picks real quick?
I got me Whitaker, Pavlovich, Gastelum, and give me Volkan.
I really like Johnny Walker.
Who was that again, Justin?
I like Whitaker. I like Pavlovich. I like Gastelum. I like Volkan as my dog play.
Okay. All right.
And it's a pick. It's not really even a dog, but
I'm on Volkan, Rodriguez, Pavlovich, and Leskarov.
All right.
So one of us is going to win more than the other Saturday. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Somebody's got to do it.
All right.
All right, boys. Let's get out of here.
Thanks for tuning in, boys. Peace.
Later.